watch collecting videos refer to entry-level pieces as your pieces, around $200, $300, $400. But I think a lot of people who are interested in starting to collect watches aren't ready to spend $400 per watch if they want a collection of more than one timepiece. Obviously, for some people, one watch is enough. You would wear the same watch every day, maybe you buy a few straps for it. But for most people, I think especially younger people getting into the collection, you want a few different watches, different styles, different tasks, to go with different things that you're wearing. And if you only have $400 to spend, I think it's unfair to suggest that you have to spend $400 per watch to get interesting timepieces. But I wanted to look at today what you get for your money. On the left here, I have my Seiko SARB035, which is the white dial version. Just quickly look at that. This has been covered all over the place on YouTube. This or the black dial counterpart. Just a great domestic market Seiko. Mine's pretty beat up. I wear my watches pretty hard, and this is my favorite watch. It's still my most expensive watch to this day. And I wear it the most. But this was not my first mechanical watch. I decided I liked this after trying a bunch of other watches. I thought it was interesting. I bought the SARB, I think, with discount for about $330. And that's without the extra strap. It's just with the bracelet that it comes on right here, which I don't use. I usually put it either on leather or on this NATO that I like, sort of dressing it down as a preppy piece. But you only get the bracelet that it's on, and so that's something to consider as well. You don't have as much variability in terms of what you would wear it with, different looks you could go for if all the money you have is $350. Whereas on the right, I have 4 timepieces, all truly entry-level timepieces, the most expensive of which is $85. Not MSRP, but what you can actually find it online. These 4 timepieces, plus the 3 extra straps I have, because these 3 are all on aftermarket straps, this whole set over here is $320. So, $10 to $30 less than what you can buy this single watch for without any extra straps. I'm not here to suggest that one approach is better than the other. I mean, obviously I have both. I think today, if you took away all my watches and said I had $350 to spend, I would buy this, and I would save up and buy a few more straps for it. I wear it the most anyway. It fits me the best stylistically. It's by far the better watch than the others. But at the same time, I got to that place by trying a bunch of different watches and by enjoying different styles, and I still wear these almost as often combined as I wear this. So I don't think there's a better approach. I think it depends who you are and what you're looking for. Anyway, without further ado, I thought we could just get into what you can buy as a watch collection for about $350 or less, if you want more than one watch or if you just want one watch. So we took a look at the Seiko already. There are plenty of videos about this on YouTube. I'm not going to spend tons of time covering that. It is a Japanese domestic market watch, but they're pretty easy to find. I bought mine on LongIslandWatch.com. You can find them on Seiya Japan. Sometimes you can find them on Amazon, and the prices will fluctuate between about $300 and about $400. It's got a 6R15 movement inside, which is hackable and hand windable. Mine's a little funky right now. The rotor's kind of a little stuck. But it's a great movement, fairly equivalent to like a 2824-2, that kind of timekeeping ability. Mine is actually running far, far better than the specs for the movement. I haven't checked in a while, but there was a period of time where I got 4 straight days of plus 1 second per day out of it, which is pretty amazing in this price range and without ever having adjusted the timepiece. But the hacking and hand winding is really, for me, a function that you only get if you're willing to spend a little bit more on a watch than these other 4 costs. And for those of you who don't know, it just means that when you pull out the crown to positions to set the time, the second hand stops. It's called hacking. And when the crown is in its normal sort of resting position, twisting it winds the movement the same way that the rotor on the back moving winds the movement. And that's pretty nice, I think. I like to be able to hand wind a watch if possible, just to keep it topped up if I'm not wearing it. And hacking means you can make your watch more accurate, because you can set it to the exact second instead of to, roughly somewhere within a minute of the real time. You get better finishing quality on this watch than you're going to get on any of these watches. Again, I've beat the hell out of mine. You can see it's pretty beat up and dinged. There's a lot of scratches. But there's all these great beveled edges and this layered case. I really like the brushed here versus the high polished on the sides and the kind of step down case that you get. I think the side profile of the SARB is really gorgeous for the price range. And of course that needle secondhand is pretty stellar. But anyway, if you want to learn more about the specifics of this watch, check out some of the other YouTube videos that are available. If you're a new watch collector and you have about $400 and you'd like to try a bunch of different styles of piece, there are more options out there than a lot of the sort of higher end watch channels would lead you to believe. And I think that you can get a watch similar to this style, you can get a field watch, you can get a flight watch, you can get even a diver, amazingly enough, within this sort of 4-watch price tier. Chronograph, you're going to have to go quartz, obviously. But there's a lot of options between Orient, Seiko, Vostok, Timex, and then your endless other brands, especially if you go vintage. For me, it starts with probably the best-selling, truly entry-level watch, at least in online stores. This is the Seiko SNK807. The 7 refers to the blue dial. I believe 809 is the black dial. There's also a military green dial and a beige dial. I don't know what number refers to what dial, to be honest. This is... It's interesting, actually. It's a flight watch stylistically. It's a baby Flieger. The layout of the dial references the Flieger models from the Luftwaffe. However, at only 37 millimeters, it's not really a flight watch. I think, in terms of use, especially at this price point where it's accessible to so many different people, it's really more of a field watch. And that's sort of how I use it. I toss it on with jeans and a t-shirt if I'm going for a hike or, running out to do errands, or if I was camping, I would bring this along. It's just a great little watch, and I think my camera's not good enough to show macro detail. Maybe I'll throw in some pictures, but the dial design, the hands design for a watch at this price range is gorgeous. I mean, you have the applied Seiko 5 logo, which really reflects light well. In this angle, in my sort of dim dining room, you're not going to see it. And then I find the hands in this watch to be really, really appealing for such an inexpensive piece. You sort of have these diamond style hour and minute hand, and they're different enough in length that it's not hard to tell them apart. And then you have this lollipop second hand that's very long, and toward the tip has the sort of red color, so you can quickly distinguish it and figure out where it is according to the seconds track around the outside. Of course, as with pretty much every Seiko 5, you've got the date as well, which I think often does cheapen the dial look a little bit, but it's practical and it's part of what makes a Seiko 5 a Seiko 5. At this price point, it doesn't really bother me. This watch and its other colored counterparts all come on this canvas strap from Seiko. It's a 2-piece strap here. Let me show you. 2-piece strap. It's fine. I mean, it has, focusing issues. It has the kind of leather section here to protect the holes, blasted keepers. I personally don't care for it. I think it looks like a kiddie watch if it's on this strap. It just looks like the kind of thing that you would have if you like your first grader wear, which is fine, and it's very practical for the use of the watch. I just don't like the look of it, which is why I have mine on this now very, very sort of distressed looking leather strap. I bought this on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. If you're looking for cheap leather straps just for a look rather than for a high quality strap, just to change up some watches that you have, this Chinese brand NewLife, they make some really nice straps actually. if I had not been stupid and worn this strap outside doing deliveries through Manhattan on like a 97-degree day, it would be in a lot better shape than it is now. It's a little discolored, it's a little cracked, but for a, I think it was $18, $19 for a padded, genuine leather strap. It reminds me a little bit of like a Breitling style strap, although obviously much lower quality. But I think you can't go wrong for that money if this is the style you're looking for. And the thing is, if you are stupid like I was and you wear it on one of those hot days, it's not expensive to replace. And you don't feel ridiculous because you have, a $150 strap on your $59 watch. Brand new, you can find this watch between like $50 and $70 online. Online on Watch, on Amazon, on eBay. And you can find it used on eBay and places like that, usually for in the $40 price range. I don't think there's more watch available for the money anywhere else, and I would suggest this to anyone looking to start a watch collection who likes this style and who thinks that it would be appropriate for the way they would wear and use their watch. If you're buying a gift for a young person, like a kid, a teenager looking for their first watch, as long as you can convince them that small watches are indeed appropriate, you couldn't go wrong with this. It's just a great little watch, and I wear it a lot, even though I have much better pieces now. In fact, my brother, who has a much higher end collection than I have, multiple Omegas, he's got a Zenith, higher end stuff, that's the point I'm making. He also has one of these that he still wears at home and enjoys. I think there's many different kind of watch collector. For me, no matter how much money I have, I find the idea of value prop really, really appealing. Whether I'm spending $50 or $10,000, I want to think that I'm getting an incredible value for my money compared to what else is out there. And I think that's, no matter how much your watch collection is worth, no matter how high end of pieces you have to just really appreciate the value prop of the Seiko SNK807 series. It's amazing, the engineering that goes into this watch for the price you can get it at. Anyway, I guess we'll stick with Seiko for a second. Let's take a look at my first mechanical watch, actually. This was a gift from my brother, who I mentioned previously. I guess 2 Christmases ago. It's September right now, so last Christmas he got me the watch I'm wearing right now, late wristwatch check, the Orient Mako USA. The Christmas before that, he bought me this, which is my first ever mechanical watch. This is another Seiko 5. You'll notice that I think that you can't really do better value prop than Seiko 5 if you're trying to start a collection with a few different styles of watch in this $50 to $100 price tier. This is the Seiko SNKL41. There's a couple equivalent watches with black dials with more textured dials. I think there's one with a blue dial. The whitish silver dial on this was appropriate for the way I dress. And because it's a white dial, you can put almost any color strap on earth on it and it will look good. There's not much to say other than that this is pretty much identical to the previous Seiko 5 I showed you in terms of mechanics. It has the same movement, roughly the same size, that 36, 37 millimeter size. The lume on this is not as prevalent because it's not a field watch, it's a dress watch. The only lume you have is on the hands here. But it's Seiko lume, you can see it at nighttime, so that's all that really counts. It's sort of a sunburst dial. I don't know if you can get that with this light. Same movement inside, the venerable 7S26. I have this right now in a sort of ridiculous strap to a cheap watch. This watch you could find for about $85 online, and I have it on a $37 strap from ColaReb. I got to the point where I have a lot of sentimental attachment to this piece because it was my first mechanical watch. It was a gift, and for a while it was the only watch I had to wear. But as you can imagine, when I bought my SARB035, all of a sudden, similar style watch. The new one was much, much nicer, a little higher quality, more elegant, and I stopped wearing this one that often. At the time, it was on this bracelet, which is the standard bracelet it comes on. And as in the case of all Seiko 5s, it's folded links, hollow end links, which I don't have on me right now. They're in a bag somewhere. Cheap stamp metal, clasp. Sorry, it's so disgusting and dirty. I wore it a lot. But, you know, I just didn't wear it that often, and I was trying to figure out a way to give it some rotation time now that I had nicer watches. So the answer for me was to find a bold, colorful strap. It's very much my style. I can not recommend the ColaReb straps highly enough based on my experience with this one. It's going to get distressed as you wear it. I mean, that's kind of the point, I think, but it's hard to see on camera. You know, there is wear from where stuff rubs against it. You can see where it rubs against the lugs is getting worn. But it's just a great strap, very comfortable. It smells amazing, looks super cool. You can get tons of different styles, tons of different colors, and a variety of sizes. So, you know, that's not what this video is really about, but pro tip, if you have an inexpensive watch that you're trying to give some new life to, consider a cool strap. But think about it, if you really are, if we get back to the point of this video, you're trying to make a well-rounded 4-watch collection for around $320. If you dress up a lot, if you wear, you know, suits, you could put black lizard grain on this and it would look great. It would be a very dressy piece. You can throw a NATO on it for a really dressed down look with jeans and a t-shirt. Distressed leather strap like this kind of can go both ways. It's really, really versatile. You know, and with the original bracelet, even though it's a low quality, cheap bracelet, it looks very Datejust-esque, and you can kind of pull off that look, I think. It's funny, of all the watches I own, I've gotten the most compliments on this watch, even compared to my more expensive pieces. I've had people mistake it for a Datejust. I've had people mistake it for a Grand Seiko, and then just people go, oh, like, I really like your watch. Like, well, you know, what's that strap? Where did you get the watch? More than my $300 Seiko, more than any of my divers, more than my new chronograph in the other room. This is the watch that for some reason gets the most compliments. You really can't go wrong with a classy, understated piece like this. Now, part of the point of this video is that you have kind of two options, right, for the money. You can go with a one-watch collection, or you can try to get a bunch of different styles that will fit different purposes in your life. And so far, if you let me adjust the camera here, so far we've covered, you know, casual wear watch, everyday watch, a field watch. I guess it kind of fits into the flight category, and a dressier watch that I have kind of dressed down in this distressed strap, but would fit that going to work, wearing a suit, wearing business attire. But what if, for instance, you are a sporty guy and you want something that is tough and durable and water resistant? I mean, most of the time when you talk about entry-level divers, if you need something that's actually water resistant, you're starting for a true 200-meter water resistance diver around $180. I mean, you're looking at a Seiko SKX, you're looking at an Orient like this guy, and you can find them used cheaper, I'm sure, but we're talking about new prices here. That's not that expensive, but if you're trying to cover 4 watches for $320, you can't afford one. There really is, to me, only one option I know of that has true 200-meter water resistance at that price point. And before you rush out and spend $85 on some, you know, rip-off copy of a Rolex Submariner from Invicta or from whoever else, you can get a real watch for less money than that that's equally as water resistant and way classier, way more stylish. A lot of you will have already noticed. I'm talking about the Vostok Amphibia. This is a fairly recent addition to my collection. I've been kind of wanting one for a while. I've been wanting a blue diver, and I had no money to spend, so this was a good option. I bought this from Russia for $51, I believe, $55, something like that. Plus shipping, of course, from where I bought it. But $51, and you're getting a watch that's 200-meter water resistant. It's shock-proof. And you can find clips online of people driving cars over these, putting them in washing machines, freezing them, and they just keep running. They're really tough watches, and I don't think you're going to find anything close to equivalent that's mechanical for $50 to $60. It's just, there's no other watch on the market that can compete, as far as I'm concerned. That said, it is a very flawed watch, and you should be aware of that. I mean, there are quality control issues. The first point I'd make, the bracelet it comes on is just awful. It's really chintzy. I don't have the end licks on me right now. They're obviously hollow, but I mean, just by sort of wedging a strap tool in them, they were just totally bent. I mean, they're really poorly made. The clasp is difficult to open, especially one-handed, but it's a terrible bracelet. I had no intention of ever wearing it on the bracelet, so that was fine. Right now I have it on a BluShark NATO. I just recently moved to New Jersey from New York City, and it was kind of cool to support a local company about 45 minutes away from where I am right now. Very high quality strap, definitely recommend it if you want a NATO strap that's truly for purpose rather than for style. They're tough, they're not as soft and pliable, but they get the job done, and they're really well made. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting way off topic. As far as the Vostok goes, other quality control issues, the bezel is meant to be bidirectional, which is a little weird, but that's fine. It's very hard to turn. There's no grip on it, really. I mean, there's sort of a fake grip, but your hand just slides on it. And the indexes on it, these dots, they don't actually line up evenly with the dots on the dial, the lume pips. So you see I have the 12 o'clock is matched up there, more or less, probably, yeah, right about there. And then if you do it that, by the time you get down here to the 8 o'clock pip, it's just way off, it's not even close. So you kind of have to fudge it and be a little bit off on both so that on a quick glance you can't really tell. And if you're really OCD, that will drive you nuts. I mean, it could be a make or break point for this watch for some people. Other issues, the seconds hand, if you can get in close enough here, the seconds hand of this watch is not straight. I'm sure on some that it is. Mine is crooked. I don't know if you can tell. It appears straight at first, and then the portion of the hand after the lume pip is kind of lilting toward my right hand over here, if you can see that, which is a little annoying to me. And then beyond that, it's very short. I like a second hand that reaches all the way to the chapter ring, if possible, because really it's not that useful, right? You can't really tell exactly what second it's pointing to on a quick glance. Beyond that, the date window is not perfectly centered. The accuracy is not great. I mean, I think mine's been about a minute fast per day, which is, it's not terrible, but it's not an accurate mechanical watch. I mean, what do you expect for $50? And then people have pretty well covered the sort of unusual floppy crown. I mean, it's supposed to be like that. It's fine. It can be a little annoying to use, but it works. It doesn't really bother me. And then beyond that, if you do take the bracelet off, do you see how right in the center there's like a little clip that the end loop clips into originally? For some reason, that really annoys me. It just doesn't look good to me once you have it on a NATO strap. I don't know, it just looks cheap. It looks like you've taken it off, and it's not supposed to be on the strap that it's on, which I guess is true. But I don't like that. What do I like about it? It's tough as nails. It's the best 200-meter water-resistant diver, if not the only real one, under $100. Tons of character. I love the color of the dial. I love the scuba dude. There's just, in this light it's not going to work because I'm just kind of blocking the window right now, which is behind me. But there's just a lot of depth and texture and character to the dial, especially with that Hesselite domed crystal. It's just really, really beautiful to look at if you can get over the sort of small errors that they've made. Highly recommended, though. You can't get a much more fun watch for $50 or $60. And I love that sort of vintage styling. It's also a great size. I should point out, I have the tiniest wrist in the world. This is a 41.5 millimeter watch on my wrist. It looks huge, right? If I take it off, put that down, give me 1 second and I'll put this watch on. Depending where you find it, this watch is listed as either 39 or 40 millimeters. Because it's an almost perfectly circular case with these really short lugs, it wears really small, actually, which I like. This is the Vostok on my wrist. I've never actually measured my wrist. It's, I have to assume, under 6.5 inches, 6.25 inches probably. I have tiny little wrists. But I think that looks great on me. It's a nice vintage look. It's shiny, a little blingy, just something different. Really like that watch. The last watch in my ultimate 4-watch entry-level collection is probably the one I'm least attached to. I don't know if I really should have bought it. It was kind of late-night eBay whim. This is the Timex Weekender chronograph. There's not a lot to say about this watch. It's not that special in any way other than just being sort of aesthetically well designed. I mean, Timex goes back eons and eons, obviously a very old company. I do like having watches with some provenance to them. So in that sense, Timex is better to me than, some random Chinese watch that I could have gotten for $50. And you're not going to find a mechanical chrono that you can fit into a 4-watch collection of $320. This is impossible. So if you want that sporty driving kind of look, vintage inspired in this case, this is just about your only shot. It works just like any other chronograph. The second hand can be a little finicky. Right now it's right on. If you bump the watch, sometimes it'll get a little off the track. But it's Philippine, I think, made, Filipino movement. Far Eastern made in general. It depends on the Timex that you're getting. But the quality control is pretty good. I mean, it works. And then you would stop the chronograph and reset. When you get it, a lot of times, even the main chronograph seconds hand, but also the sub-registers, they're going to be a little bit misaligned. You can sort of zero all of them with a series of combinations of the buttons on the watch. This is all covered in the manual. It's very easy to do. So if you get it and it's not lined up, don't freak out. The watch is fine. It's not broken. Has Indiglow. You can see it at nighttime. And it comes in this very cheap but charming leather NATO strap. It's really thin, but it's comfortable. It looks good. And if you end up finding a few other 20mm watches that you really like, you could just swap this out into something else if you wanted to. I'm of split opinion. I don't think it's fair for me to suggest that you should buy a $350 watch or you should buy 4 watches for $320. It depends who you are, what you want out of the watch. If you're looking for craftsmanship and just incredible class for money, and you like sort of mechanical engineering as an interest, I would get a better watch. You're getting more for your money this way. This is a great watch. If I only had one watch in my entire collection, it would be this one for sure. And then I would have this strap and the bracelet and a brown and black leather strap, so I could wear it with anything. But I could get all of that for under $400 if I shopped intelligently. So for me, if I had to pick now, I'd pick this. But I never would have gotten to the point of buying this watch if I hadn't first gone through a collection of these watches and a couple others in my collection as well. And I'm glad that I have both. I'm glad I don't have to choose. I can have all 4 of these watches in my collection, and I still wear all 4 of these. The Timex not that often, to be honest, but I still wear all 4 of these, even though I wear this more. So what do you guys think? Would you go for one watch that is high level, entry level, or low level mid range for about $350? Or would you put together a 4-watch collection? I'm curious, what's better? Which is the obvious solution to you? What fits your lifestyle best? And then beyond that, what watch would you choose? If you're going with a 1-watch collection in this price range, what is the one watch that can get you through any situation you're going to be in? It helps to have a hypothetical situation here, I think, where you're assuming it's your only watch. So what are you going to do? One watch? What watch is it? If you're a 4-watch person, what watches would you be looking at? What would you choose? Obviously, I lean kind of heavily towards the small Seiko 5s. The Vostok, it's a fun new addition for me. But there's other watches out there. What is your favorite brand or style of watch in that sort of $50 to $100 price range? What 4 would you put together for complete collection. Leave your comments down below. I'm really curious about what you guys think, about what you guys like, and if there's any other videos that you'd like to see, either about really entry-level watch collecting or just about watches in general, let me know. I can always make more. Thank you.